Hello everyone, my name is Olivia, and in honor of Women's History Month, I wanted to share with you some of my favorite women in fiction. And this video is brought to you by and sponsored by Redbubble to celebrate Women's History Month and women empowerment. Redbubble is one of my favorite places to shop for both myself and for others, so when they contacted me to help celebrate their women empowerment campaign, I was right on board because I am all for women empowerment and I just love their designs so much. Redbubble is one of my favorite places to shop both for myself and for others. They are a website that allows independent artists to create designs that you could put onto t-shirts, onto notebooks, onto socks, onto water bottles, and it's one of my favorite places to go to for very specific and very niche type of items that I want to gift to others. So if I know my friend is a fan of a specific TV show or a specific hobby, I just search up that hobby, put it into Redbubble, and I can find thousands upon thousands of designs catered to that specific thing that I'm looking for. So in honor of Women's History Month, Redbubble is working with me for their women empowerment campaign. So I want to show you a couple of things that I got from Redbubble to celebrate this month. So the first thing that I have here is a water bottle. I use water bottles all the time, both in my house and on the go, to cut back on plastic. And because I'm really clumsy, so I like using water bottles because I tend to drop things a lot. So the water bottle that I got has a design that says Society of Badass Women, official member, and I think it is so cute because it reminds me of like a Girl Scout badge, and I just think it's a wonderful and cute and simplistic water bottle to have. Then I have two pairs of socks. One is a design of different women's faces together, which I think is really cute and colorful, and the other are women on different planets, and I also got it on a face mask. I also got a transparent sticker of a little space warrior because I like putting stickers onto my phone case. That's why I got a clear one, so I could put different stickers in it. And I also got a tote bag because I love to put them in my purses so I can reuse them instead of using plastic bags. So this one says, "A woman's place is wherever the hell she wants to be." The last two things that I got from Redbubble is a t-shirt that says "Let's Cause a Stir," and it's a retro woman stirring a pot, and she is reading a book that says "Dismantle the Whole System." And one of my favorite things that I got, which is a new thing that Redbubble has, is an apron. So you can put any design that you can think of onto an apron if any of you are like me and you love to bake. So I got a design that's very colorful, and it is a Shakespearean quote, and it says, "Though she be but little, she is fierce." And I think this design is awesome because I really love the color purple. It's one of my favorite colors, and it's just very vibrant and cute, and I am so glad that they are now including aprons in their items that you can get. And be sure to use my coupon code as well to get 15% off your order, which will be good until the end of the year. So that is an amazing opportunity. So thank you so much to Redbubble for sponsoring this video. And now let's talk about my favorite women in fiction. So the first couple of characters that I want to talk about are actually from the same author, and they are just some of my favorite women in fiction, and it is all of the main characters from Elizabeth Acevedo. Elizabeth Acevedo writes such strong and inspiring young women, and I think they are all so empowering and inspiring in different ways. In With the Fire and High, we follow Imani, who is a teen mom who is busy raising her daughter while also pursuing her dreams of going to culinary school. In The Poet X, we follow Ziomara, who is letting her voice be heard through her poetry, and this is probably my favorite book by Elizabeth Acevedo. And in Clap When You Land, we follow two sisters who live very different lives but connect over time, and their stories are just so beautifully written, and I just love the connection that they form with each other over time. Elizabeth Acevedo is one of my favorite authors because her characters are so authentic and relatable, and I'm always rooting for them, and I love how they're always standing up to others and the world in different ways, and they are just all so amazing, and I know that they would be best friends with each other. So if you have not read an Elizabeth Acevedo book, I would highly recommend that you get on that. These characters are also amazing, and I just love the Latinx representation that Elizabeth Acevedo has to offer, and I know that every single book that she's going to publish will include such a wonderful protagonist, and I just appreciate them so much, and they just feel like a close friend. Another woman in fiction that I absolutely love is Beatrice Perez from When We Left Cuba by Chanel Clayton. Beatrice Perez lives in 1960s Florida after being exiled from Cuba after the Cuban Revolution. She's trying trying to make a name for herself as an immigrant in this new country, and one of the cool things about her is she is working for the CIA to hopefully assassinate Fidel Castro. Beatrice Perez is such a spunky type of main character. She is pushing the social norms during the 1960s. She is not afraid to let herself be heard and be known. She is really putting herself out there by working for the CIA and doing such dangerous missions to help her country and take revenge for her country. And I just love her so much, not only because she is a Cuban main character, but because she is just so fierce and cool, and I just want to be her. Everything that she stands for and everything that she is passionate about is something that I'm passionate about, and I think that she is a very underrated character, and I love her so much. Another character that I absolutely love is Dani Brown from Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. Dani Brown is one of my favorite characters because she just knows what she wants out of life. She's passionate about academia, she's passionate about her studies, she's witchy and she is flirty, and she's not afraid to put herself out there, and she is just someone that I aspire to be in the way that she is so confident, in the way that she carries herself, and in the way that she just pushes herself to be better and better. And I think that one thing that I relate to the most is that she doesn't know how to take a break in terms of academia. She is all consumed by it, and others have to remind her to care for herself. And that's how I was in college. I was all consumed by my studies and trying to get the best scores and trying to get the best grades. And I just related so much to that part of Dani's life. And I feel like if I met her in real life, I would want to be her friend because she just seems like the type of person who would walk into a room and everyone puts their eyes onto her. She just has this essence to her that I love so much. Along with all the other sisters in this series by Talia Hibbert, I think they're all so cute in their own way, and they all carry themselves in very different ways but always support each other, and I just love that connection that they have with each other. Another woman in fiction that I connected to on a whole other level was Queenie. Queenie is probably one of the most authentic characters that I have ever read about. We follow Queenie after she is broken up with by her long-term boyfriend, and her life kind of spirals from there. She's struggling with her job, she's struggling with her family, she's struggling with her friendships, and she's trying to put herself back together while also going through some bouts of self-sabotage. Queenie's character development deals a lot with mental health, it deals a lot with caring for oneself and recognizing one's worth, and I just love the raw look that we get into Queenie's life. I feel like Queenie is one of the most well-rounded characters I have read about in terms of her character development. We watch her from the lowest point of her life where she's making some very bad decisions, and we get to see her as she grows and she learns different lessons and she learns to accept the love that others want to give to her. I think she's very hard on herself, and I just want to wrap her up in a hug because I just want the best for Queenie. I think if you are looking for a character that is not afraid to make mistakes, a character that is on shaky ground and is trying to find herself, Queenie would be the book for you, because I feel like we've all been there, especially in your 20s where you don't really know yourself yet and you're trying to figure out what you want out of life. I think Queenie is so relatable in that, especially in terms of dealing with your mental health and trying to better that as well. This is just such a well-rounded novel in terms of dealing with so many different life issues, and that's what I love the most about it. I feel like all these characters feel like they're my friends because we journey alongside these characters for such a long amount of time and you really connect with them, and that's what I love the most about them all, because all of these stories are very much character-based stories, so you really get to know a lot about them and learn their faults and learn what they want out of life and their aspirations and their dreams, and I love that. I love that so much in books. I just love character-driven stories. Another character that I absolutely love will be no surprise to those who are very familiar with my channel, and it is Evelyn Hugo from The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I have said this before, but I feel like Evelyn Hugo is a mirror to my own life in the way that she is Cuban, in the way that she carries herself, in the way that she is so ambitious and will stop at nothing to achieve her dreams. I think she is just such a powerful main character, and we get to follow her from her 20s all the way to the end of her life, so we get a very well-rounded look at who she is as a person, the difficult situations that she has to go through, and how she grows from that. Evelyn Hugo is such an inspiration. Whenever I'm feeling down, I'm like, what would Evelyn do? Because I feel like she's just such a strong person while also being incredibly vulnerable, because she puts up this facade of being this very confident person while she's also dealing with some really personal issues that a lot of people don't see, because she is in the limelight and she has to hide that away from the public because she is an old Hollywood star. And I think that's one of my favorite things about her as well, because I love old Hollywood. I think that time in history is so interesting in the way that the actresses were treated during that time and how she is standing up against those stereotypes and standing up against those gender norms. I just think she's the coolest person ever, and I do want to read one of my favorite quotes by her. I have a couple of favorite quotes by her. So one of them is, "When you're given the opportunity to change your life, be ready to do whatever it takes to make that happen. The world doesn't give things, you take things." Another quote that I love from her is, "Make them pay you what they would pay a white man." Evelyn is just one of my favorite characters because I feel like she's a real person. I feel like when you leave this book, you feel like you read about a real celebrity. So many things that she goes through feel so authentic and vivid, and I just feel like she is a mirror to so many different people in different ways, because she goes through so many different things throughout her life that is so relatable, and I just love who she is as a person, how she carries herself, and I just wish I could have an ounce of Evelyn's confidence, because if I did, I could change the world. A character from a classic novel that I heavily relate to and love so much is Jo March from Little Women. Jo March is a character similar to that of Evelyn Hugo in the way that they are just so sure of themselves. They know what they want out of life. They will not stop until they get it. And they are just pushing against society in a way that makes others uncomfortable, but they don't give a shit that they are making other people uncomfortable, because they are not afraid to take up room in this world. I love how Jo has such a temper on her, because I can relate to that, because sometimes I just cannot control my temper, and I feel like I am Jo in that sense. In fact, let me read you a quote from Jo, because I feel like it encompasses who I am as a person, and I feel like that's why I relate to her so much. So she says, "I am always possessed to burst out with some particularly blunt speech or revolutionary sentiment before her. It's my doom and I can't help it." That's how I am. I'm an incredibly blunt person to the point where it's kind of brutally honest. I just don't see the need in hiding how you truly feel, and I feel like that's how Jo is. And for the time that Jo lives in, that's very revolutionary, because women at that time were told to be meek and quiet, and Jo is pushing against that in the way that she wants to provide for her family the way a man would at that time, and the way that she doesn't want to get married when that seems like the end goal for women at that time. I just love the way that Jo is not afraid to make moves, in the way that she is not afraid to upset others with her opinions. I just love Jo so much, and I can just really see myself in her, especially in the way that she is very young and she is very aggressive, in the way that she's very blunt. I feel like that's how I was, especially as a teenager, and I feel like teenage me is Jo March, you know? The last character that I want to highlight that I absolutely love, with all her flaws and all, is Evie ONeill from the Diviners series. Evie ONeill is a very loud, very self-centered, very rambunctious character. She is always trying to get up into trouble. She always wants to go to the latest parties, and most of the time she is a very self-serving type of character, and that's what I love about her, because I also struggle with that type of flaw in thinking about myself first before others. And I love the way that she is so vibrant in her society during the 20s, when again women were told to be very meek and quiet, and she is not afraid to kind of lash out in a very fun way by drinking and partying and being out on the town all night. She is a character who is just so fun to follow, and I love reading her perspective, because we have multiple perspectives in the Diviners. Whenever we get to an Evie chapter, I'm just so excited to see what she's going to get up into next. And I'm going to read you one of my favorite quotes from Evie, because it encompasses her character while also encompassing a piece of my personality as well. So the quote says, "Because I'm not good enough, she thought. That was the terrible echo shouting at her. Fraud, fraud, fraud. She got drunk and talked too much and danced on tables. She had a temper and a sharp tongue. She often blurted out things that she instantly regretted. Worst of all, she suspected that who she truly was, not so much a bright young thing as a messy young thing. Evie ONeill has the same insecurities that I have, the same flaws that I have, and I feel like she's very similar to Jo March in the way that she is blunt, in the way that she is pushing against the norms of society, in the way that she just takes up a lot of space. And she struggles with that. She struggles with her loudness. She struggles with the actions that she makes. And I love that so much about her because that's how I am as a person. I struggle with the fact that I feel like I'm the loudest person in the room when I get too excited. Evie, along with all the other characters that I spoke about, are just so relatable to my own personality. And I feel like if you were to read all of these books, you would understand who I am as a person. I feel like all these characters are very similar if you look at them all together. So those are some of my favorite women in fiction. I am so happy to share this list with you all because I feel like this is a great way to get to know me as a person as well, and my personality and the types of characters that I'm drawn to, because they're all very similar at the end of the day. They're all very much standing up for the same thing, and that's what I love about all of them. So thank you so much to Redbubble for also sponsoring this video and giving me such amazing goodies to celebrate Women's History Month. Again, if you want to get any of the items that I got from Redbubble to match with me, be sure to click the link in my bio and be sure to use that coupon code as well because it will be good for the rest of the year. So you definitely want to use that. So I hope you enjoyed this list, and let me know if there are any characters from different books that you think would match this type of vibe, that would match the type of personality that I'm drawn towards, because I would love to get some recommendations down below. And also let me know what are some of your favorite women in fiction. I would love to hear your list and how they relate to your personality. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have not subscribed yet, be sure to do so if you want to see more bookish content from me in the future. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye!